What is Family Electric Ghost? This episode is Peg Talks Up Electro Funk, Love, Salt in Your Wounds. Now, this song is another experimental jam using our hardware workflow, which we've been big proponents of. So what that means is we use digital and analog synths. Digital synths like the OPZ from Teenage Engineering, analog synths like the Moog Mother 32 and Moog DFAM and Arturia Made Brute 2S. We use Eurorack solutions like the MAPS utility module for Make Noise and the MAPS Morphogene sampler, as well as hardware mixers like Yamaha mixers, Roland performance mixers, and Zoom hardware digital recorders that record directly to WAV-file 24-bit 48 megahertz audio. So what we were able to do is record directly from the hardware synths as we get musical ideas. And when you have Euroracks or analog synths, you can do what Nick Batt talks about is playing the filter. So if you have a Moog and you play the ladder filter as you record it, which also means you might play with the envelopes, you might play with the LFO, you might play with, the pitch, you might do a lot of different things. You may change how the controlled voltage workflow of the synth is and do it in real time. And so you get what we call sound paintings, or Hendrix called sound paintings when he talked about Electric Ladyland. So you get these sonic experiences that we also call strange modulation or expansive sound. So this particular song started with us modulating a Mother 32 with the Mass Utility module, which adds like another LFO. You can add up to 2 LFOs, which is a low frequency oscillator, which can cause looping type segments, or and so that basically gives you like a clip, but an analog clip. Instead of using a DAW, you use the analog synth to create these analog loops or clips. So we started with that. Then we used the Moog DFAM, the drummer from another mother, to create percussive loop. And then the Arturia Made Brute 2S has a looping envelope, and it has 2 LFOs, and it has a sequencer that's very powerful. So we built another percussive sequence. Then there's a third percussive sequence using the JDXI from Roland, which has 5 parts, which is similar to what they've done with the Jupiter XM and Jupiter X. And so what we did there is we extend the 4-part drum part, which is somewhat limiting, and extend it with a BeatStep Pro, which allows us to do chain patterns and to also use that sequencer, which is a 3-line sequencer, can do 3 lines of sequencing at once. We use that to create 16-step patterns that can be chained together and can also be manipulated in real time. So we can add swing, and we can take swing off, we can add randomness, we can do all kinds of probability controls, and then we can actually change the patterns in real time, what steps they kick off on, and introduce new patterns in real time, and also do improvisational roles and other things that we can do that add some variability and some kind of live feel to the recording. So this particular song, Josephine Electric, courtesy of the Roland VT4, it's my voice being pitched to like a soprano level. So she's talking about this whole idea that her lover and her are in this kind of dysfunctional relationship, this codependent relationship, and kind of putting salt in open psychic wounds. And then she's talking about how she's got so much funk she's going to blow off the roof, which is a reference to one of our favorite bands, Parliament Funkadelic. And Bernie Worrell was a master of the Moog and every other keyboard, Hammond organ, everything in between. So we're inspired by bands like that and Sun Ra and Rick Wakeman from Yes, and of course Prince, and he did amazing work with the Mini Moog and the Prophet 5, and also the D50 on Love Sexy. So we just wanted to kind of come up with this jam, and there's a lot to it, but we only probably used 4 tracks on the actual Zoom R24, because sometimes what we're able to do is, because we have all these capabilities from our Eurorack, we get multiple channels and we mix them at like what we think are the right levels on our MX1 Performance Mixer, which allows us to change the levels of the inputs coming in through USB audio and quarter-inch line, and also eighth of an inch line for the OPZ from Teenage Engineering. So once we have that mix, we can take the monophonic signal going into the MX1 and make it into a stereo signal that we then bring into our Yamaha mixer. We play with the gain and the compression and add some effects there as well. But before even that, we have a Pittsburgh 4x2 mixer that allows us to take VCA signals from the Eurorack and actually level them out before they even hit the MX1. And then it ends up going from the Yamaha into the Zoom R24 where we record it, and it gets another level of a mix. Then we bring it to either Beautiful Audio or Landar and master it there, and then we send it to Bentley Records, and they engineer it professionally from our initial attempts at mastering using this workflow. And we've been published for the last year through Bentley Records and also through Mojo Head Records. And so this has been working out pretty good. And we got this podcast. We got over almost 22,000 listeners here. We've got over 80,000 listens on SoundCloud. And we interview bands from all over the world. And we're going to be interviewing some bands before the end of the year, which is, probably 3 bands before the end of the year. And we're going to bring Auntie Vis back on again. We talked to her before. She has some amazing stuff on SoundCloud. Go check it out. She's a DJ, and she's not exactly a DJ. She's an electronic musician, kind of punk aesthetic, riot girl vibe. Pretty interesting, cool stuff that she does. Plays guitar and does some really interesting stuff electronically and sonically and acoustically. So check her out. We did an interview with her. You can see it on our Anchor FM or Spotify, which all of our podcasts are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as Radio Public and several other ones. Overcast. There's too many to name. We're on 11 different platforms. So if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to the channel, become a supporter of us on Anchor FM. You can support us at 99 cents. $4.99, $99, $9.99. You could always just support us for a month and then drop off. We'd appreciate it. We're working on some product reviews. We're hoping to get an interesting synth that we just looked up that is coming out from Behringer, which we've kind of been critical of. But it looks like here what they've done is they did a straight copy of a Mini Moog Model D, and now they have a Poly D, which is kind of like a misnomer because it's actually a paraphonic D. Instead of 3 oscillators, it's 4 oscillators. And I think it has 2 LFOs, a simple LFO, and another LFO. I don't know if the 4th oscillator can become an LFO. I was trying to look at that. But it's paraphonic, so you can play 4 note chords on it. It's actually got the stereo chorus from the Juno 60, which is pretty interesting, which is an analog stereo chorus. It's got a keyboard on it, and it's got the same form as a Model D, where the panel that has all the controls can lift at different angles or lie flat. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure if it has CV. I've been looking at the back. It looks like it has some CV control, but it doesn't say it's CV, so I'm kind of wondering what it is. It just looks like an interesting set. It seems to, because it's paraphonic, it's got 4 oscillators, kind of getting into matriarch territory, but it's not as powerful as a matriarch. I think matriarch is a lot more powerful. So we've been trying to save toward a matriarch, and now this comes out, and we're kind of like torn because we've always wanted a Mini Moog Model D. It's really a lead instrument. It's a bass heavy instrument. You can do a lot of cool things with it. Listen to Parliament Funkadelic. You can hear like all the genesis of like modern hip hop was done with that machine. So it's very useful for what you can do with it. Keith Emerson used it. Rick Wakeman on Yes. If you hear any of the Yes great albums like Fragile, Closer to the Edge, you can hear that machine on it. So yeah, and even like Lucky Man from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, you can hear it. So we're very excited about the stuff we've been working on. Wondering if we should get this Poly D. If you have any thoughts about that, send us a voice memo what your opinions are. We'd like to know your opinion between the Poly D and the Matriarch, and maybe even the Grandmother. I think the Grandmother has a lot more heft. Now, I know it's only monophonic, but a monophonic Moog sometimes can cut through so heavy it can kick out a paraphonic synth. And the thing about the Grandmother and the Matriarch, it's kind of like Moog realized their patent for the Model D was done, so they came up with a new age version of the Mini Moogs. And the Grandmother and the Matriarch have some characteristics that some people think might be even more enticing than the Mini Moog, in that they've got the CP3 mixer, they've got a lot of the classic modules from the modular Moogs that you would never be able to get. And some of these, like the 911 and 909 VCAs and filters, they are very significant. So that in itself, with the CP3 mixer alone, and then the spring reverb, and then the digital, we're not doing the analog delay that's on the Matriarch, are very significant. And I've listened to Luke Pop's and Sonic State's review of this Poly D, and I would say, after listening to the Grandmother and the Matriarch demos, it seems like the Grandmother and the Matriarch have a little more heft. It just seems like they do. You could maybe argue that point and say, well, you want to try the Behringer because it's cheaper. Yeah, and I'm enticed by the fact that it's probably going to be $600, perhaps. We don't know for sure. I got to call into Sweetwater to find out. They don't know yet, so I'll let you know when I know. But we'll talk to you later. Hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks, and have a good Thanksgiving.
depression. We don't need a priest but confession. Just need that mother 32 and lay down that groove. A sidechain compression. No bishop confession. Need that mother 32 and bust that groove. A pig's pretty nude. A sidechain compression is all in the wound. A pig's pretty rude. A sidechain compression is all in the wound. If you don't move, it'll be your doom. A pig's pretty rude. It ain't got rude. That's all in that open wound. A pig gonna bust that rude. Yeah, a pig gonna bust that rude. Put salt in your open wound.